Thank you so much, and it's a real privilege to have you with us here in UNDP today, and I'm very happy to participate in this discussion. I think the question you've asked is important, but it's important for us to first of all situate and lay the emphasis that civil society organizations are vital partners for development in Rwanda and in many other countries in the world. They are vital. They are not seen as an alternative or the other, but they are key parts of development. And I think this is because of a number of things that civil society organizations do. First is strengthening participation, making sure that citizens' voice are heard and are part of development planning. That is important, but also the accountability, the innovation. Most importantly, civil society organizations always come with the intent to ensure social cohesion, that everybody part of the country is participating in development, feels they're receiving the services. So they really are the key bridge between public institutions and communities. And we already know if that bridge is broken, there's trust that is broken, and it will lead definitely to inefficient distribution of services, or in fact, people begin to feel disgruntled because they cannot be heard. They don't feel their needs and priorities are reflected in national development. So civil society organizations play that very strong bridge and role between community members as well as the government. Because civil society organizations are often based where the needs are the most, where community members are, they tend to understand a lot more the needs, the priorities, and what community members need. And because of that, they are likely to ensure inclusive development, meaning everybody is participating in development, meaning women, youth, people with disabilities, people in the farthest areas, in rural areas. So we see what civil society organizations bring to Rwanda's development is ensuring that no one is left behind in the development planning, no one is left behind in terms of receiving services, and there is a smooth relationship between public institutions as well as community members. I have just mentioned earlier on that civil society organizations are vital for development. For them to really play that strong role, they also need their capacities enhanced. So there are several ways we do this. First is around institutional strengthening. Civil society organizations themselves as a network, not looking at the individual. How are they connected? What is the coordination mechanisms around them? How do the institutions of civil society themselves ensure credibility in the work that they do and accountability? UNDP therefore enhances the governance systems of civil society organizations, their capacity for financial reporting and monitoring, their M&E capacity, as well as strategic planning. And what this ensures is that they will really have programs that are addressing and responding to national priorities. Apart from the institutional support that is provided to CSOs, we also emphasize around two other things, around policy engagement, because they are likely to bring community perspectives into policy discussions, in policy dialogues. We really strengthen civil society's capacities to engage at the policy level. And a third area is in technical expertise. The world is changing and it's really changing fast. Discussions are no longer around funding, it's more about financing. Civil society organizations need to be updated in engaging in such policy level conversations and discussions if they are going to be able to represent and provide the perspectives of community members. So as I have just mentioned, the institutional capacity strengthening of CSOs, the individual capacities in respective areas where they work, and also making sure that they engage in policy dialogue, understanding the development landscape changes and how they can engage in those discussions. So we provide individual capacity for CSOs, but also strengthen the systems of civil society organizations. And I think sometimes it may be difficult to quantify results immediately, especially in the short term, but it's also very important that we show, because we've had a long-standing partnership as UNDP with civil society organizations. And I think the very first that I would like to talk about is how much they have ensured that development is closer to communities. That's one area that we can really see this. We've also seen that civil society organizations have ensured that development programs are responsive to the needs of people. If you look at the NST2 and the key areas of focus of NST2, you can really tell that the development challenges of Rwanda and from all corners of Rwanda are embedded into that blueprint. Now, another part that is important, and I think that I need to mention, is the strengthening of civil society organizations themselves. That's a result. It's not only, and I think when we're looking at results, often we're looking at outcome level results, but there are also process results. If the organizations, CSO organizations, are not strong enough to stand on their own, we may not have them over time. If they're not strong enough to be adaptive in the development landscape, we may not have civil society organizations over time. So the fact that we still have them and contributing keenly into development in the country is a result in its own. So two levels of results. We see the strengthening of the network of civil society organizations. We see their continual involvement and bringing up community issues, but also we've seen development getting a lot more responsive and closer to communities. And those results continue to encourage us that the part that civil society organizations play in development should continue to be strengthened. We cannot lay emphasis on a localization agenda where we're not bringing resources to the local communities. So one way is a shift in terms of ensuring that even for UNDP, our resources are working at the central level, but also at the local level. Data that is only aggregated at the national level is not going to give enough insights or what investments are required at the local level. So really engaging and providing support to the relevant data institutions to collect data at the local government level provides the opportunity for informed development investment at the local level. Now, I even want to use an example where we've done so concretely. I was in Nyanza district. So UNDP works with low-ranking districts in the Imihigo in their performance. And our commitment is for these low-ranking districts to gradually also climb up the ladder. And there are three things we do with them. One, we provide a technical assistance that works with them in terms of their reporting processes for Imihigo. Second, we also provide resources for them to invest in their data and the management of their report. Third, and for me that is very important, where I feel our investment in localization is really bearing some fruit, is we create a partnership between low-ranking districts and best-performing districts that they learn from each other. And by doing so, I was in Nyanza. We started this in 2024, 2025, 2025, 2026, and we are always working with the least 4 districts ranking. It's really pleasing to see that Nyanza has gone a step higher, but we are still working with them very closely. They mentioned to us for the first time they have clean audits, and they mentioned to us also they're in fact digitalizing the process of reporting on Imihigo. That is a concrete example of how we are working with localization and making sure that all districts, and our aim really ultimately is that all districts are passing Imihigo even if they're not ranking at the top. And they have really been, one of the things that touched me the most in Nyanza was that they went to Romagana to learn about how Romagana is performing well. Now, Romagana is also coming to Nyanza to see what they had gone to learn from them if they're implementing it. So we are really deliberate about our work in localizing development, about ensuring that the local system, the local governance system itself is strong enough. And all of this is to ensure service delivery, because Imihigo is not just ranking districts for the sake of ranking them. It's about ensuring that services are reaching the people the most where it is needed. So let me really start by responding to that question by commending the government through the Rwanda Governance Board in ensuring a strong and coherent system of coordinating civil society organizations. You don't often find this easily, and I think that really makes the work a lot easier here in Rwanda working with civil society organizations. They are registered, they are known, the areas where they're working in, and the areas of focus. That is really important. Now, our support to civil society organizations is gradually shifting from individual CSOs to the network of enabling environment for civil society organizations to contribute to development. So it's a lot more around the platform. And one of the things I really want to mention is that the civil society organization platform was a key partner in helping UNDP. We have what we call the country program document. When we are developing and elaborating our country program document, civil society organizations also participated in helping us shape our commitment and to working with government in the next 5 years in ensuring that UNDP's country program document is fully aligned to NST2. That is a concrete way in which So one way you would think we're only supporting civil society organizations to go out there, but they're also supporting us, our work, because they're acting like a sounding board to let us know if our own country program document is really aligned with needs. We do provide limited support to institutions such as RALGA, but it's a lot more looking at the broader network. CSOs participating in our own country program development is a way of showing this is a two-way relationship. It is not only one way. And I think I have to conclude by saying, because civil society organizations work on a broad base of development issues, from peace building, and I mentioned social cohesion earlier on, to climate actions, environmental sustainability, to broader governance issues, to access to justice issues as well. They fit very well with a UNDP whose mandate is much broader. So we've seen this two-way relationship between strengthening the network and coordination among civil society organizations, providing targeted support to RALGA, even though on a minimal basis, and also them providing input into our work. So I've really provided a sustained way of engaging civil society organizations, and I think it's been beneficial for both us as UNDP as well as the CSO networks in the country. But one of the things I've liked about our partnership with civil society organizations is that it goes beyond financial support. And I think this is where the working with civil society organizations at the local government level is really key. For instance, we have a project on small grants that now allows us to give low-value grants to organizations that may not go through the whole scrutiny of being able to work with UNDP with much larger finance. This is really getting us to work with local CSOs and at the grassroots level to get to the last mile where we are not able to get to. That's one. But also, because we listen to them, we provide a feedback mechanism on our work. We're still creating a space where civil society organizations will come. And in fact, I want to mention about the media. One of the things we used to do with the media was doing visits to our projects so that the media get to understand it's not only reporting, but getting a feel of the work that we do. And those are some of the things we really intend to continue to engage with, to get them to involve in policy dialogue and to ensure that their knowledge, which we think they have an extensive knowledge of community level priorities and needs, extensive knowledge of working closely and even living with community members, we were always going to draw on their expertise and their experience to support our work. So we are going to continue to engage the civil society platform. First of all, by the time our CPD is for 5 years, very soon it's going to be a media evaluation and review of our CPD. We will engage very closely with civil society organizations who will serve as indicators to let us know they were there at the inception. How well are we doing with our programming and implementation? Where do we need to strengthen some more? And I think that's going to be a critical area where we work with civil society organizations. When we do capacity building initiatives, especially at the district level and so on, we will engage the civil society organizations so they also benefit. Remember earlier when I mentioned it's not only the institutional capacity strengthening of CSOs, it's also their individual capacities. And this ways they will also engage. And we will be willing to listen to them to give us feedback on which areas we should strengthen some more in the implementation of our CPD. And even the change in the financial support is a lot more for individual CSO organizations, but in terms of the network, the entire ecosystem of civil society organizations, their coordination, that's why we're still working direct. We have some direct investment with RALGA. Again, I say even though those are at a bit of a minimal level, but we will still explore those options working with CSOs. The one thing I would like to lay emphasis on that I don't know where this message is going to be shared is civil society organizations in Rwanda, in Africa, across the globe are really recognized as vital partners. They are not the other. They are vital partners in development. They bring critical elements that I mentioned earlier on, ensuring that no one is left behind. They are our reminders as we run around with big jargons, possibly appearing in big conferences, discussing strategies, etc. They keep us grounded. Civil society organizations, they keep us with reality to say, yes, you've invested this much, but we are at the services of the people. And that is very important always. It's very similar to you growing up, myself growing up. It wasn't just our parents that are looking after us. The neighbors were also part of looking after us. The teachers were part of looking after us. If you're somebody who goes to church, our pastor. So we need all these players to make this grow. When you're planting a tree, right, you must have planted that tree, but you need different people playing the role, who are actually going to be sure that the tree is watered, receives water, who are going to be sure that the soil is fertile enough for the tree to grow. So we need all these players to ensure that development is inclusive and it is resilient, and we believe civil society organizations will always play that vital role for us.